Hi there, I'm Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and in this video I wanted to take a look at one set of some box squats. Now squats are the king of all exercises, as they incorporate a huge amount of muscles, and they especially target your quads, hamstrings, and the gluteal muscles of your butt. Now I usually don't do box squats, as I normally do very deep squats to increase my athleticism, but I'm getting a little older, and I tweaked my knee playing sports, and it's been bothering me for just about a month now. And so I've been using box squats to keep my legs strong until I can get back to my regular method of training. Now, I don't care what sport you play, whether it's soccer, football, wrestling, basketball, or boxing. Legs are everything. And too many guys out there skip their leg workouts because it's hard. Now, even though I tweaked my knee, let me just tell you that friends do not let friends skip leg day. And so if you're in the same sort of position as myself where your knee is bothering you a bit, let's use the box squat to alter your technique so that you don't have to skip any leg workouts. So preferably your gym has a power rack, and I'm gonna leave a description and a link below on how to do squats in a power rack. And maybe you're lucky enough where your gym already has pre-made boxes like this one, and they're gonna come in handy. Now about the placement of that box, most people place it symmetrically in the rack like so, and when you have a seat on the box, it's gonna look something like this. And that's all well and good if you're used to it, but I find myself having to use the force, and I feel like I'm sort of guessing where the box is at. And so I place the box in the power rack with the corner facing forward, and when I have a seat on the box, it looks something like this. And what that does is it allows me to hover over the corner of the box, and my thighs can sort of sense that the box is underneath me, so I know where it is. Now I feel safer doing it this way, but it's completely up to you. Now a common question is, what if my gym doesn't have a box? Well, perhaps your gym has a bench similar to this one, where it has a wide base at one end and a narrower base at the other. This is good because you don't want to accidentally trip over the feet of the bench. And so you can see here that my big fat feet are free and clear of the bench. And so there's nothing to trip over. Now I'm sure most of you may be stuck using a good old conventional bench like this guy here. So that's what we're going to work with for this particular video. Notice it has a wide base at both ends. Now this can be a problem, because trust me, you don't want to trip over one of those feet with a weighted bar on your back. So what we're going to do is position the bench more forward so that you will be able to steer clear of those feet of the bench. And you're going to have a seat directly in the middle of the bench, like so. And now you can see here that I've centered the bench, and so now I'm totally safe from tripping over its feet. And the height of this bench has my thighs being just about parallel with the floor. But this is still causing me some slight discomfort on my knee, and maybe you had the same problem as well. So I'm going to raise the depth of my squat by a couple of inches by adding this extra pad. And for the time being, that's going to make my knees feel a little more comfortable. Now if you don't have a pad, you can try using a 35-pound plate and place that in the center of the bench to raise your squat by a couple of inches. Next up, properly set up the rack. Adjust the height of the bar so that you can easily get it off of the pins, but make sure that it's not too high. You don't want to have to stretch up to put it back when you're tired. Also, please be safe and use the safety bars. You want to place those bars low enough so that they don't interfere with your squat, but you want to keep them high enough so that you can lean forward and drop the weight and just slip out from underneath without the weight falling on you and squashing you like a bug. You can check out this channel for some tips on proper squat technique, but nonetheless, let's go over a few things together right now. The most important change for the box squats is this. Instead of performing your squats in midair, you're going to be seated. You're going to have a seat with all of that weight directly on your back. So you don't just want to plop down and let all that weight crush your spine. Because if you do that, then maybe you'll start off the month being 6 feet tall, and you'll probably end the month being 5'4" with severe scoliosis. So instead, I use my legs to control my descent, and I control the weight, and I ease my butt onto that bench. I pause for a split second, and then I use the powerful muscles of my legs to squat right back up. I keep the bar on my traps and not on my neck. I also don't want that bar to go too low in my back either, as I don't want to lose control of it and have it roll down my back and get away from me. You're going to notice here that more often than not, I'm looking up. And I do that to ensure that my back stays relatively straight. Because what I really want to do with my squats is I want to use my legs to lift, and I do not want to be bending at the lower back. So for the most part, by looking up, I can't get it wrong and it keeps my spine relatively straight. I also make sure that I sit back enough so that my knees are not more forward than my toes when I'm seated. Now because my knee is hurting me a little bit, I'm going to use a wider foot stance than I normally would for squats. And I'm also going to slightly externally rotate my feet to keep the pressure off of my knees. But don't worry, by doing this, you're still going to feel it in the muscles of your legs. Now, when I remove the bar from the pins, I usually use a short lunge motion to remove it. Then I take a step back and I make sure that I'm properly set before I begin to squat. I inhale on the way down, the eccentric phase, and I exhale on the concentric phase as I contract the muscles of my legs to squat back up. Please guys, don't forget to breathe. I've seen so many guys get lightheaded because they're holding their breath. So long story short, breathe. When I return the bar, I double check the pins on either side, and I make sure that the weight is secure before I let go of that bar. Now, if you're new to doing squats, maybe this is a good way to break yourself in. If you have a fear of doing squats, then this may also be an ideal exercise for you as well. Or perhaps like myself, you have a slight injury, and by using box squats to slightly alter your squat technique, you can still get some great leg workouts in there. But most importantly, of all the muscle groups that you train, please don't forget to train your legs, because it's training your legs that's going to really accelerate your results. This has been Mike Gales for Everlast Nutrition, and if you like these videos, then please click below to like or subscribe, as we're constantly posting up great tips and new ideas that are meant to get you into the greatest shape possible.